When you register your trademark, should you do it with or without a logo? Now, what does a logo mean? Think of Apple's logo. It's the picture of the apple with the bite taken out. Think of the golden arches of McDonald's. It's not a new way of writing or a different script. For example, if you think of the word McDonald's, they've got it written in a particular script. That's not what I'm talking about when I talk about a logo. I'm talking about an image, which could be the golden arches, for example, or the Apple image. So if you have a logo for your business, should you protect it by trademark? And in an ideal universe, the answer is yes, because trademark registration is great protection. However, in the real world, where we have limited budgets, usually if you have a word trademark, the name of your business or the name of your brand, and the logo, most often I recommend to my clients only to file for application for their word trademark. So if I was acting for Apple with their the word apple and the image of an apple with a bite out, I would recommend that they file for the word only. And the reason for that is that if they file for the combination, it actually dilutes the value of the trademark, because if somebody's infringing, they have to infringe the totality of the trademark, so the word and the image. So if somebody else came along and used the word apple and an image of a banana, there would be an argument whether they infringed Apple's word plus logo. And so the best thing to do always, the strongest trademark, is to get the word registered. Sometimes you can't because it's too descriptive of what you're doing. And if it is too descriptive, you might want to think about changing your brand to something more distinctive. Apple for computers, great distinctive example. Descriptive words are very difficult to get registered, and they are also the ones that people tend to infringe the most because other people want to use similar descriptive words. You can sometimes get a word registered, a descriptive word registered, by adding a logo. Now remember, I'm not talking about a different font. I'm talking about an image, some kind of graphic, some kind of picture. That might help. It has to be something more than just a simple geographic line or shape. That won't be considered to be distinctive enough. If somebody creates a logo for you, you need to make sure that you own the copyright in the logo. What often happens is that a designer designs a logo, but they could retain the copyright, which means they have the right to say whether or not you can register it as a trademark. And they have the right to say whether or not you can modify the logo. I worked for a big government department. They paid tens of thousands of dollars to get a logo created for them. They wanted to modernize it, so they wanted to round off the edges, and they let the designer know, just as a matter of common courtesy, and the designer said, no way, you may not modify my logo, and you may not register it as a trademark unless you pay me double. So government department got rid of that designer and got a new logo created from scratch. But it can and does happen. And if it's your friend or someone that you know who's created a logo for you, get it in writing that you own the copyright in the logo. And it can be as simple as an email. And if you use one of those overseas agencies like Fiverr or Upwork, understand that there is a risk that sometimes people on those sites will say, yes, you own the copyright. Meanwhile, you don't own the copyright because they've taken it from somewhere else. I tested this actually. I tested this on Fiverr. I asked somebody to create me a logo, and then I did a Google search of the logo, and guess what? It belonged to an international company. The exact same thing. The Fiverr person had just copied it and sent it to me as though it were their own. So logos, very interesting. But if your budget does extend to doing more than one trademark registration, then go for the word on its own and the logo on its own. Unless your words are a bit descriptive, then you might have to do the combination to get that registration through. My name is Catherine Warburton, and I am the Legal Lioness.